Comb your hair.
Wait a minute, who's gonna take notes?
Ah, sí, cierto.
¿Quién toma notas?
Do you want me to take them for this meeting also?
Took them last time.
You
so.
want
I'm sorry?
You want to take notes? I want to take notes.
If Sandra will take them this time, and if we need someone next time, I'll take them, and then maybe we can,
Rotate.
yeah, we'll trade off.
Okay, so being 5:42, this meeting is called to order. Will you stand for the pledge of allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Dolores Boswell. Here. Ana Laura Botello. Lizeth Cuellar. Esther Pirova.
Present.
Maribel García. Patricia García.
Present.
Belinda Guerra. Alice Herrera. Elizabeth López. Claudia Medellín. Silvia Palombo.
Present.
Linda Ramírez.
Present.
Sandra Taylor Rocha.
Present.
Diana Rodríguez. Berenice Silva.
Present.
Frances Wabrowski.
Janice absent.
Yes.
Yes.
Always comes.
And Claudia Medellin, maybe you could not, she's the
Yeah,
only
she
one that-
justified, she's out of town.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, no public comments
There's no one here.
here, okay. So we proceed with the approval of the minutes, which was on,
For August.
August.
yeah, was 2 years, because we didn't have another meeting after that.
I move that we accept the minutes for the
I
August
second.
meeting.
Yeah.
Wait, somebody else.
Okay. So the minutes have been accepted. Okay, the next point is discussion and possible action regarding existing bylaws and applicable ordinances that might affect the Laredo Commission of Women and its member and any matters incident there.
Oh, we need to vote.
We need to vote for the minutes.
Ah, okay,
Oh.
it's everybody, it's
Oh. I guess all
In
in
favor?
Okay.
all in favor.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed. Everybody. Okay, the next point, discussion and possible action regarding existing bylaws and applicable ordinances that might affect the Laredo Commission of Women and its member and any matters incident thereto.
If I could, I just want to display, I asked Karina to place this item on the agenda just to go over the bylaws that exist right now and the applicable ordinance that was approved by council this year, around May, February, April, I think. And it went into application, into compliance by May. So, and I think it was already given to you all a long time ago. But I just wanted to go over it so that if you have any concerns or questions, I guess we could try to figure out what the appropriate answer would be. The bylaws, I included them because I know some of them are not legal, like the quorum one, I was told by the attorney that was not legal. He should have been here, but he had another commitment, couldn't make it, Mr. Rosas. But I also, since it's on the agenda, if you all want to go item by item through the bylaws, maybe talk about changing some of them or what you'd like to see, and then that way we can present them to council and maybe update the bylaws as you guys see fit.
Didn't we have a committee that did that already and we had them on preview? I thought we had done that.
But Some of the.
That's
some of
what's
the-
here.
That's what's there.
These were the
this is
approved
what this
bylaws
is.
back in
This is
2011.
the approved. These are not.
These are the ones that are in effect right now.
Well, because we had another, I'm just telling you because my daughter was on the committee at one time and she was the one that chaired going item by item and we had.
When was this?
The 2011, like you said, this is a long
So
time
that's the
ago.
ones that we had.
Yeah,
looked.
but if you want to update them, if you don't want to update them, we can leave them alone. The
No,
only
no,
thing I
I'm
would-
just saying, because that's the one on the forum that you said.
But like you did say, yeah, that the quorum was, so is that, has that been removed?
Yeah, well, it hasn't been removed. It's still in
And
place,
so
but
it
it's
would be-
illegal, so you can't.
Well, then I would say let's go by it so you can tell us.
And that's the reason I wanted to place them on this go item by item.
Perfect, that's good.
And again, if these were approved back in 2011, it's 2018, so if you all want to change some things, we have to look to make sure that whatever recommendations are made that are legal, and then we can move forward and present them to council.
May I be recognized, please, Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Which existing bylaws applicable ordinance might affect the Laredo Commission for Women and its members?
Mhm.
Can we go through those first and see which ones those are?
Yeah.
And all
Because it's a
of them?
bylaws. Oh, what
It's
is
all,
it?
porque dice que there's some there
Well-
that might affect us.
I think one of the major issues between the existing ordinance that was approved by council this year was the absences, or being absent at any commission, committee, or board. Here, I think it says, if there's two, and if you go, what section is it? Okay, if you go to section 3, and it says section 2 of article 3, membership. It says, if any member is absent from more than 2 unexcused consecutive regularly scheduled meetings, the commission chair may recommend to the appropriate elected official that another person be appointed. Really, it doesn't have any teeth. They may or they may not. So, really doesn't matter if they're absent or not. But the ordinance states that if you miss 3 meetings in a calendar year, you're off the board automatically. It's not if she wants you to be off.
Even if you're not excused,
Excused or unexcused. 3 meetings you miss a year, you're out.
that was passed recently,
Completely.
right?
Yes, I want to say April, or what?
I think you have it here.
Yeah, because that didn't
Should be
exist
here.
before.
April the 2nd, it was approved and it passed on April the 2nd. So that's gonna apply. So we're gonna go through, and if somebody has since May, because it went into effect in May, from May to today, regular meetings
Uh-huh.
that are scheduled, which is the first, no, yes,
second Monday of
second Monday of every month, unless, no, it's a regular meeting. Like today, if you all were here, so we take roll, and even if you don't have a quorum, you showed up, so it counts like you were here.
Uh-huh.
Those that weren't, that's gonna be a strike against them, so you can only have 3 a year.
So,
And this is to try to encourage the participation in other committees.
so Joe,
So it's
so anybody that was
Yes.
that missed 3 meetings between May and now, they're automatically out.
Technically, yes.
Automatically?
Well,
You have
not
to ask the
technically it
council
is.
member?
So they're out.
No, we don't ask the council.
By ordinance.
By ordinance, they approved it.
Do you have?
Do we have a list of those that were?
I will provide one by tomorrow
Yeah,
because.
we're working on that right now. It's because some of the meetings were either canceled and then we held a special meeting, and that's the problem, it has to be a regular meeting. So
Also
regular
special
meetings
meetings don't
scheduled,
count. Like the last time I missed because it was moved.
And we
yeah.
have
And so the
canceled.
regular scheduled meetings, which is the second Monday of every month,
Uh-huh.
if you miss that one, that's gonna be held against you. The regular ones, if it's a special meeting, if you have 2 meetings in the month, the special one, that should not count against you. It has to be this regular scheduled meeting.
And I have a
Yeah.
question.
So it should be exactly when the meeting took place
Yes.
on the 2nd.
Yes.
So how will anybody be notified if they have already, they're
Well,
done?
the attorney, and this is not just this
I
committee or
know.
this commission, all the commissions are the same, it affects everybody the same. And so what we asked the attorney if they could put something together that's a standard letter basically saying, section whatever of the charter of the ordinance was approved on this date and it states the following. And as of right now, you've missed X number of days, so you're automatically removed. Unfortunately, that's what's in place right now.
Are those consecutive meetings?
No.
Or just?
No, just in 1 year, from January to
To
December.
December,
Yes, if
okay.
you missed, let's say you missed 2. Next January, you start, let's say you missed the first one, that's the first one of that year. So the other 2, they're out.
We start for
Per
you.
year, per calendar year.
Per year, yes.
And in the event, like we had the other day, because of the weather and the
Mhm.
meeting was canceled, that does not count against anybody.
Well, I don't think we held the meeting at all.
We have.
So no one We didn't
No,
take any
no,
roll or
no,
anything.
We have the administrative
No.
discretion to cancel the meetings.
City manager can do that. And
So that won't count against.
That's not gonna count against it. It's when, like this, for instance, like today, folks that didn't show up, that's gonna be held against them.
When you call the meeting to order and we take formal attendance, then that's when it counts against them.
Okay.
And if they're late, it's still.
Well, if they're late, that's okay, as long as they show up to the meeting that they're here. I mean, late's not an issue. It's when they don't show up at all.
Oh,
Because
Okay,
that-
it had been explained that even if they showed up late, they would, if they
Yeah,
were
I mean,
here.
if someone walks in right now, that's not gonna be held against them.
But what happens, there are boundaries for that though. You have
There are
to.
limits
Well-
for late.
Well, if the meeting's held, if the meeting's called to order, you hold a roll call, you have a quorum, like you have a quorum, and the meeting's in progress, someone walks in, that's okay.
Okay.
It's when you hold, when you take roll and you don't have a quorum and you cancel it, and everybody kind of walks away, and then somebody walks in like 10, 15 minutes later, well, there's no meeting, it's already canceled. That's too late.
Okay.
Yes.
And so the official roll is official roll. Now, if we have quorum like today, someone walks in, that's not gonna be held against them, because they're here for the meeting, even though they're late.
Okay, so
Okay.
you said the attendance would be based on calendar year, not the city's fiscal
Yeah,
year?
January.
No, the calendar year.
Calendar.
And we'll look at that section of the ordinance. That's just one of the issues that we saw, and I said, you know what, let's place it on here. We can, let's go article by article. I don't think it'll be super hard, and then maybe just go over, if you all wanna change some things, take some motions, we can present that to council, you know, in the next meeting or so. Maybe not the next meeting, the next meeting's on Monday, but.
Esta ya la pasó el ordinance, so we can't change it, right? Es que I don't see it fair. Sometimes if you're sick, si estás enferma,
Yeah.
I mean, it's beyond your control.
And those issues were brought
Or
up by
you have
council.
an
We-
accident or something. how
But
can
that's
you
why they
hold
give
it?
you 3, so
Yeah.
let's just say technically you could be sick for 3 months in a row, 90 days.
I mean,
That would be still.
You have work, I mean, we all have
60
work.
days.
So we know the meeting's at 5:30,
I
so.
agree, I'm just
I
saying
don't-
that sometimes out of a clear, I mean, algo pasa.
Sí.
We all have had them, we've all had emergencies in our lives. O te meten a tu papá o tu mamá o tu hijo al hospital y ahí andas correteando, no puedes venir. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to tell you that those are legitimate excuses that we cannot allow for them to say, pues no viniste, no vine porque no pude, no vine porque tuve una emergencia.
And I would say this, I would say if, and that's a legitimate concern, because the council, they can miss in the calendar year 6 days, the council members for their meetings. And so even if they're excused or not, it doesn't matter. They can only miss 6 days. No, I'm sorry, not a calendar year. So let's say somebody misses in February. Well, technically that's where his calendar starts. It's kind of weird. It's not from January to January. It's in a 12-month period. That's what it says. You cannot be absent more than 6 times in a 12-month period. That's for the council members. So if somebody's absent March, his calendar just started for 12 months. And so I'm keeping tabs. I keep tabs of all of that.
And their vacation time is counted, right, as those absences? Or is
Regular meetings.
Okay.
So if it's just regulars, we have a calendar for the whole year, and it's regular meetings. All the meetings are there. Ya no me acuerdo cuántos son. I think it's at least 2. I think in December there's only 1, and maybe in January there's only 1. So it's about 22 meetings. So if they miss 6 or more than 6 meetings, they automatically have to resign. That's what it says in the charter. I think it's, in the charter. And so, because people have brought that issue up, well, this person's been absent so many times.
Yeah.
And so I had to do a presentation, and they understood, but they didn't want to understand. Well, because we have workshops, we have special called council meetings, and so some of them, for whatever reason, they can't make it. He's been absent all the time. Well, no. Regular meetings, he's been at every single meeting. He might not have showed up to a workshop or special meeting, and so I don't hold that against him because the charter is very specific, regular scheduled meetings. And so it's the same thing here, but here it's 3. So if you have a concern with that,
We need to
and
talk.
it's a legitimate
I
concern,
think it's a legitimate
I
concern.
think you need to call your
You still
council
can't
member.
change it.
But we
You
can
can't
ask for
change
all
it.
of the organizations, so
No.
why are we wasting our breath
Right.
and time
Well,
talking
no.
about this? Let's move on to something
No, but you
else.
can come to your councilman, and, because I know
Yeah, but it's
Councilman
for all the
Vidal.
committees. I'm not gonna make a change for all the committees.
No,
because
I
we
was
have
told,
an
I
issue with
already spoke to
something.
my council member.
Yeah, I know Councilman Vidal mentioned it to me. He says, hey, now looking at it back in retrospect, maybe we shouldn't have done it just 3 meetings, maybe 4 or 5, that you could be absent, because it's a year.
I will say this in defense of that. It's very frustrating, and everybody here has felt it. When you come to the meeting and you schedule and you move things aside because this is your set day and we know when it is, and you don't have a quorum. So that's even more frustrating than whatever other issues happen. I mean, you have 3 times in a year that you could be absent, so.
I totally, you know what, I have to agree with that, because guess what, people abuse it.
Yes.
Then I'm gonna call and say, hey, I'm sick. Oh, hey, I'm working late. I leave my clients to be here. No excuses, and if you work for somebody, then don't be in the committee or tell them that you have to be here at 5:30. We don't do that. So I support the 3, I think that's.
Well, I'm just saying that that's an example. I mean, we can start from number 1 and we can move on and then.
If you want to do that, yeah. And we can always talk for a city council member, like you said.
I mean, if you're passionate enough that you want to change it, I mean, that's where
I
you
don't
start.
agree with it totally, Joe. I mean, I'm not saying, only, that's just my opinion, my humble opinion, because I do know that sometimes it is impossible to get here. If I'm in a wreck or if I have an emergency, and I know that's why they give us 3, but guess what? We're gonna get, it's in a whole year, that's 12 months. I mean, and I'm affecting me,
Well, that's
because
a lot. You're already busy.
I've always had to wait for people, and I mean, yeah, I know how it feels, I know exactly how you feel. But I always here on time, thank God, even before everybody comes, and that's fine, everybody, but as long as we're here on time. But
Okay,
I
so-
will discuss it with my city council members.
Okay, let's start with number 1.
Yes.
Yeah, my husband's birthday meeting.
Are we in Article 1 or Article 2 now?
What?
Article 1 has.
Any concerns with Article 1? Do you want me to go? You want me to go?
Yeah, you, what if you go on?
You want, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Article 1, the name of the commission shall be the Laredo Commission for Women, herein after designated as the commission. Any concerns, issues with that? Okay. Article 2, creation and purpose. The purpose of the commission is to promote equality in legal, social, political, economic, and educational opportunities and advancement for all women throughout the city of Laredo. The commission shall, number 1, identify the need and concerns of women, develop and access strategies including community outreach activities, public-private partnerships, coordination of community and state resources, and recommended assistance and services to improve the status of women in Laredo.
May I?
Yes.
This is a very welcoming paragraph, because for a year we've been told that the only purpose we had was the Hall of Fame. And I kept on disputing that and saying, then we don't have a purpose. Because I did research other Commission for Women's, and it was pretty much the same. So I am relieved that we are able, that this is really our purpose, to promote equality in legal, social, political, economic, and educational opportunity and advancement for women throughout the city of Laredo. Now we have a purpose, because the Hall of Fame being our only purpose was not correct. And I'm so glad that this is here and we're moving forward with this.
And I would say that I've asked Karina, but she's already moving on. She's going to be going to another department within the city. But I will we'll be researching to see what other communities are doing. An idea that someone told me was, and the issue here is you're not allowed to do fundraising. So that's one, like any commission. And I think that was sent out to the legal opinion maybe 2 years ago, something like that. And so that's the concern that they've always had. So they kind of just left it to do the Hall of Fame. But like one instance where someone told me, a person said, well, why can't they do something like a professional, I guess, attire for females? Because some folks don't have the money to go buy dresses to go do an interview. And so, or help them with skills, get volunteers, organizations, but you guys organize that and then help them to better their skills at doing interviews, things of that nature. How to help women improve their lives in that sense. And so what we want to do is, or what I've been thinking was, and maybe the commission can look at other cities on its own and come up with those type of ideas and to see how you can empower women just to better themselves in general.
And there are state resources for this as well, as you would know.
Well, also, we did it to a certain level with the high school kids, and they did touch all of those at TAMU. for those skills, their etiquette skills and all of the stuff so that they can succeed once they go out into the workforce. And years past, we also, one of our plans in our for the year was to have something like that for women of the city. However, we run into the funding issue. It was going to be, I don't know if you remember, we were going to plan it at the Embassy Suites, and it was going to be like for empowering women and just to interviewing skills, like you said, and all of that. But
and I would say, as far as funding, because you can always figure out a way to do things. You can do it at the public library. That's a city-owned facility, and we have that big meeting room. You've been there.
Yeah.
And on the side is the entry to the left, and so I think it fits over 100 people easily.
Yeah, it does.
And so those are the utilities or the things you can use from the city. Don't cost anything.
We don't spend the money that we have.
Because that's the issue that the legal department has always had. They're not allowed to spend money or raise money on behalf of them or the city. It's an advisory commission. And what I would say is, whatever projects the commission comes up with, we put them in a formal vote and we present them to get them approved by council.
Yes, that's what they asked us.
And so, and that would, you get the okay, and there you'd say, okay, we're gonna do this, and we like to use the resources of the city as far as a location, and so they'll lend you that location. And
Paper for handouts, if we.
yeah, stuff like that. I mean, all that's legitimate. But see, we get it first checked out by legal. Hey, there's no issues. If there are issues, okay, how do we go around the issues to get it done? And so then you get it approved by council, and it's a good thing.
I think that one of the things that Dolores brought up, which was, it was very powerful. We had the Young Commission for Women, and we had, which cost nothing to us, but we partnered with Tammy. It's just partnerships, and they would host their expo or convention, whatever they called it, fair, and it was 200 girls from all high schools. And our Commission for Women, we would be there and we would help with the speakers and help the topics selected.
I was going to say the topics could be a lot of things that really empower people.
They killed it. I would like to, Tammy was very disappointed this year, this past year, and I would like for it to be back in and be have that opportunity to be able to reach out to those girls in that manner.
Well, and those are projects that the commission will have to come up with, right? And then present them to council, get them approved by council. And then once they approve it, then, you know, you have the free will to go do that, once they approve it.
It has to be something that we don't need any funds, right?
Yes, unfortunately. Or very limited, I mean.
What we have. We can present this throughout the year, correct? We don't have to do it only during the budget time.
No,
when we do our mission statement, I mean, our plan.
What's it called?
What's it called? Somebody
like
the one that we did for the whole year.
Strategic plan.
The action plan.
The action plan, there you go, the action plan.
So it doesn't have to be.
No, I mean, it's at any time that you all want to do a special project, there's no issue with council. I mean, they're willing to support any of the items that you guys want to come up with.
Well, I think it's very interesting. I mean, this is very enlightening because, for example, 2 and 3, participate with established task force and policy groups on issues affecting women. They've labeled those political. Monitor federal and state legislation and city policies, ordinance, and resolutions relating to issues affecting women. They've labeled those political. So
this is the issue.
Okay.
And I guess I don't want to go into each one that case. Let's do this. Let's finish first all the articles here in this section, and then we'll discuss each one item by item. If you have any issues, I think the political part is when you start involving politicians. Correct. If it's an issue that you like, let's say you want to change some law.
Equal pay, let's say equal pay.
And you guys feel very passionate about that, you guys vote here, say, you know what, we feel that the equal pay is not equal. We want to pass a resolution or submit a resolution to city council saying that we'd like for them to consider doing a resolution saying that they want the state to better the equal pay. So what you're doing here is you're getting involved with that issue, but you're presenting it to council, who's the one that's going to take action for you guys.
Yes.
If they like the issue, or they support the issue. And so that's, I think, what they want from the commission, recommendations.
Just ideas.
And to move forward, because they're the ones that take action.
Keyword is recommendation.
They're the ones, yeah, they want the recommendations, because, and I've been on council before, and so a lot of times we don't know everything. And so, from a different view, every person has a different view of how things should be, or, you know. And so you give that recommendation, and coming from the group as an organized vote, saying, hey, we want you to consider this for your next, they're coming up with the legislative agenda. I want to say it's going to be presented in November. They're going to go to the state in January, February. And so that's where the city has, and I always tell people this, the city has people they pay to lobby for them. Well, what issues are passionate that you guys are passionate about that you can present to council and they can get behind that? Then they have the guy they're paying to go lobby to make that change. It doesn't always work, but it has to start somewhere. And so whatever your issues that you guys envision as a group, present that to council. And that's where the council gets, because I don't think that's ever happened.
No.
I mean, we all have, you know, the point of view, but it has never been presented to council. And so I think that that's part of it. The only thing they lobby, or if it's an idea that they have, or whatever staff tells them, hey, you know, we need this. Okay, well, we'll support it. Let's get our people, we'll go to a lobby for it. But you guys are like the staff. You know, you guys make recommendations here to forward them to council. And then that way they can, you know, get on board on that and then go with it.
I guess what they're more than what I'm hearing and what I heard, not just here, but with other people from the city, they just don't want us to get upon ourselves to say Laredo Commission of Women stands for X, Y, and Z. It's more of, we're just advising city council.
This is an advisory commission.
Yes, but not us taking it upon ourselves saying, and we also cannot be partisan either. That they told me big time no.
No, that's what I'm saying. When you talk about, you can talk about political issues as far as how they affect women in general.
Yeah, but
not specific person, not a specific, you know,
But
thing.
we promote legal, it says social, political, and economic.
Political, it says
Opportunities.
Yeah,
Legal.
but political, I mean,
But
political
right now-
can be, again,
Yeah, but not
having the
party
city,
lines.
having the city.
But you know what happened at the last meeting, that's
Yeah,
what
but
I'm saying.
we cannot.
That's not.
No, and that's what I'm saying, this really has to be
That's
just
not-
advisory, it's neutral.
We're just advising.
And again, the section where it says political, the way I look at it is, you have an issue that you need political pull from the council, that's the issue you want to push forward. That's how I say political. So I guess, do we have any issues with number 1? As far as any word changing or any other concerns?
Article 1 or Article 2?
No, we're in Article 2, number 1.
Number 1, okay.
So now we're gonna be here.
No, we got the clarification, actually, for 1, 2, and 3.
Okay, and then number 2 is participate with established task force and policy groups on issues affecting women. And that's what we were just talking
Yeah.
about. Any issues, policy, things that you'd like to have changed at the city or at the state or at the federal level, that's where the group has to get together, the commission,
Right.
vote to forward that to the council and then have them, and then go poll your council, hey, you know, we want you to get behind our issue that we see is needed here in Laredo. And so that's where, you know, they like that stuff. They like that support.
Somehow, I don't know if it's because I'm not following all of the outcomes of the city council meetings, or there seems to be either a disconnect in the communication. So I know we're supposed to echo what the city council recommends, and but what about, so that we don't duplicate something that's already being done by another commission, or if it's already being worked on and it looks like we're not paying attention, and like then we bring it up, it's being redundant. How can that information flow back to this commission so that we can share and make better recommendations?
Decisions and,
you know, as to, well, if this is your plan for the year, if the council, this is the council's plan for the year, then how can we dovetail into each of your projects?
Well, if you're talking about like legislative issues, those don't get developed till.
No, I mean,
the
just
local.
city, just city local.
I think basically what, and this may be what you already mentioned, is for us to vote amongst ourselves if there's something that we really are passionate about, and then we present it to you.
But that's
And
not,
you present, you review it with legal before it goes to council.
That's not what she's saying.
No?
She's saying, how can we know what city
What
council?
council's working on already.
Yeah, what they're working on, what they're doing, either we watch it or we don't,
And
and,
that's it, at the end of the day, I mean, they'll place an item, we don't even know
Yeah.
that they're working, because I don't deal with all of them on every single issue. And so, I don't think that it would hurt even if it's a duplicated issue. I think it just shows that there's more power behind it. If 2 or 3 commissions, and really, there's no other commission that deals with women's issues.
But if it's information you seek, then the best thing would be, is to appoint someone to attend the council meetings and then report back at our
Rotate.
weekly meetings.
Or just
You know, and that's
video,
really,
video.
I mean, other than looking at the agendas and going over the minutes meeting after meeting, but if you want, someone could attend the meetings and then they give
that
a
could be an
report.
action, or
They give a
just go
report
to the
during
agenda.
our
Or
monthly
the final
meeting.
report after all of
Just an
those.
agenda.
It's on visuals.
It's just the minutes and the meetings.
The
I mean,
minutes.
that's
You can get a copy of
that's
the
what we
minutes.
post in our office,
It's a lot of pages.
of every meeting, and so it's just a lot of information that they go over. But again, I think personally, that if I'm on the council and I see this group coming forward that they want this, and this group coming forward, they want the same thing, that just means that that item is important, or that issue is important. And I think I would give it more consideration than something else. So I don't think it hurts that the commission might vote on something or be supporting something that's already someone else might have already mentioned. I think it just supports whatever the other person's mentioned.
Join power.
I think.
Supported. Okay.
Okay, monitor federal, state legislation and city policies, ordinances, resolutions relating to issues affecting women. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's looking at the city's policies on women, on equal pay or whatever,
We just talked about
sexual
it.
harassment, and then making, and
It's just
updating.
supporting it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those are, you brought up sexual harassment. That might be an issue that the commission might want to look at and say, okay, I mean, it doesn't just affect women, it affects men too. But if you all want to look at the policy, I mean, that can be brought forward. You all can look at it and say, well, this should be stronger, maybe not. And then send it, ask council, would you consider making this part of the city issues or the policies, maybe changing them to do this or
Yeah.
affect this, based on whatever issue you guys want to look at. Okay, then number 4 is aid the city council in finding recommended qualified women for the appointive office or commissions and boards and etc. That, I guess, when positions open up within the city, I mean, I don't know, I mean, again, we're just reading what's there, I don't know if you want it there to begin with.
I don't think they've
Yeah,
ever.
that's above our.
Above what-
pay grade, we don't get
We want you to
paid
hire this
for
person, we
it.
want you to hire this. Well, I'll give you an example.
Make sure that the applicants are qualified.
There was a gentleman, he's a veterans advocate, he would go to the meetings.
And I think it's other citizens' right to be on a hiring committee. I don't think it's.
We're just an advising committee.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
no, I was just gonna say, because there's a gentleman that he was really passionate about veterans, female and male. And so, he went before council several meetings and kept telling them, hey, you all need to have it in your policy where you give a little bit more consideration to veterans, whatever sex, but veterans. And so the city said, you know what, okay, let's do that. So I think that for every application, because the city gets hundreds of applicants applying for positions. So they're saying, has to be a certain percentage, if they're veterans, they should be interviewed, at least be interviewed. And so that they put that into their policies. Now, I don't know if y'all want to go down that route, or you want to eliminate that?
No, I like that, because we like to get the number of women, I mean, no, it's actually our first, another commission talking about this issue. And theirs was the number of women in top management positions versus the number of men, and on, and there was a huge disparity. And I thought, hey, guess what, that would be interesting. That would be interesting to get the same equal opportunity.
I'd like to leave it in
Well, we
there.
want to leave it in.
Yeah. I think it's very good.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
What does the city
¿Le pasas
do
una agua esta,
as
por
far
favor?
as notifying the general community if someone would like to serve on a board or a committee for the city? Do you
What
all
hap-
put it out there, or you just let the council members reach out to?
Normally, the councilmen will reach out, to people, or people will reach out to the council members if you want to be in a specific committee. Online, in our department, we have the vacancies available for all the committees. So if you want to say, I'd like the water's issues, the secondary water issue committee, I'm very passionate about trying to find a secondary water source. So you go on our, you click on our board under that commission, it'll tell you who has a vacancy. And then you can reach out to that council member and ask. Or they'll go to the staff, like Dr. Gonzalez in one of his committees, the drug and alcohol. He's having issues with quorums, and so he's got 4 or 5 vacancies. So he's always calling the council and says, hey, look, I have a list of people that want to participate. Here's a list. Can you at least, talk to somebody or pick somebody from the list? And these people want to participate. And so staff liaisons try to do that. People in general, just on their own, approach the councilmen wherever they feel that they want to, participate.
But you all don't actively promote that the community can serve on a commission. I don't really see that anymore.
Well, no, but how do you do that? Public access? Not a lot of people will watch. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, you're right.
A lot of people don't watch public access unless you're looking for something. And we try to do it through our department because we kind of run the website, and so we try to have that available for them if they want to participate. And again, it's reaching out to the liaison or the committee, the commission, whatever the commission is.
But you know what?
To get that information.
Sandra, that's a good point, because someone could actually go to organizations and associations and say, educate them on the process, because a lot of women say, how do I get to be a part of that? I would love to be a part of that committee.
Or any committee.
Or any committee, that's what I'm referring to.
They want to get involved?
They want to get involved, so I think that it would be a great idea for the city or the Commission for Women to, because we can represent the city, to go and explain the process and how to get into these committees. You have school district teachers that have called and said, I would love to be on the board, they're retired, they want to do something for the community. And it would be really important to convey that to them, and not only them, but the whole population of women.
Sure.
I think it's important that we do consider that somehow and take it to another level and say, somebody needs to be out there communicating that.
Or at least maybe do a PSA,
Yeah.
and ask KG&S to run it,
Yes.
on a slow day.
The PIO could do it.
So we can recommend that for them.
Yes.
Yeah, that could be one of the recommendations.
I really think that we
And
should.
come up maybe with not marketing, but some sort of plan of how to try to access different organizations.
Was that number 4?
Yes,
So
that
we're
was
gonna
number
keep
4.
number 4 then, right?
Yes.
Yes.
We're actually keeping 1 to 4. So that'll be
Okay, number 5 would be develop the Hall of Fame for Women and program and honor and promote women during the Women's History Month in March. So that one you'll want to keep, right?
That's the one for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so we're already doing it.
Okay. Number 6, seek assistance from City Council as needed to fulfill its charge, except for money. Don't ask for money. So we'll keep that also. And that could be part of, we're requesting that you consider these propositions when you go forward to the legislature or local things that you want council to support you. So we're good up to that point? Article 3, membership. The commission shall be composed of 18 members appointed and ratified by the mayor, city council, 2 members each. The commission members shall serve at the duration of the mayor or city council members or city council's elected term. The members of the commission shall serve without pay, but are entitled to travel expenses when representing the commission. I don't know about that. Members are responsible for the following.
They kill me.
Remember that?
Yeah, they kill me.
Is the section 1. Members are, do you have any concerns with that? The
Well,
makeup of the commission.
I would like, the makeup of the commission.
You want 18 folks here?
That's
No,
the
it's
issue.
unrealistic.
Yeah, because we're expecting 18 members, that really conflicts with the quorum all the time.
That was the
Because
reason
in the
why
past,
our
they
quorum
only
was.
each council member got to select 1.
Yes.
And
What
now,
what is it
Well,
on other commissions? Do they get
We
one?
always
one?
do.
Everybody's 1. This is the only
Everybody's one
committee I know
that
that
has
is
2.
2.
There's
What was the purpose?
the other one is the,
Oh, there's another one.
yes, the charter amendment is, I think, 2.
City charter.
but
That's
they
like
only
very
need-
rare.
But that's just a temporary committee.
Yeah,
It's an
it's an ad hoc committee. And I was on the council in 2000, it was always 2 folks, two persons here.
Yeah, it's been to
I wonder
For a
if
long
it
time.
changed.
So I mean, it affects the quorum since we're having problems with quorum. I don't know if you all wanna recommend
One
that.
order each.
I mean, that could be something you guys can consider. I mean,
Because
that
then
could be
that
a
would bring
potential
it down
change.
to
Because if
9.
it's 9 people, then you'd have, quorum needs 5.
Yes.
I like that. I
Yeah,
really
me
do.
too.
I
Now consider
really do.
this, if people that attend here are from the same councilman,
Good,
that person might only be able to appoint one.
that's fine.
Or he might ask one of the other ones that one of their persons not going, or 2 other persons are not
One
going,
has to go.
you know. So
Well, they
it's-
can take turns.
No, we can only appoint one.
No, there's no right for one. That would be a good idea. You go to one meeting, I'll go to the other meeting, and you go to one meeting, but it won't work that way.
Well,
Five absences.
Yeah.
But I think everybody came would be 18.
But there is power in the numbers because of the
Yeah.
help that we
I say
need
keep it like
in our
that.
growth that we're trying to go.
Let's keep
We're
it
trying
like
to
that.
grow and we're trying to do more things, and it'll be a lot of work for 9 of us to do it.
I think 9 is
Me
better.
too.
Well, again, it's up to the commission what you guys wanna
I think we
consider.
can vote and talk about it and discuss it.
Yeah.
But not right now, not today.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll just leave that out there. That's why I wanted to give you these so that you guys can start looking at it a little bit more. And
So
whatever,
the quorum stays at 10.
right now, yes.
Yeah.
Como
That's
quiera.
what it is.
I mean, once we move forward with, once we actually execute the ordinance, a lot of you are gonna leave.
Oh, that's true.
Some folks, there are gonna be more vacancies.
So
Yeah.
that brings up another point. Serving in this commission,
Uh-huh.
if you are with one council member and he's done his two terms, 8 years,
Excuse me.
then he's out, and then another council
Mhm,
person
comes in.
elects that same person. Can they continue to do that? It's not mentioned on here.
It's not mentioned in here, so they can.
So they can.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's happened.
Yes.
But isn't there a city ordinance saying you cannot continue after?
No,
the
it
term?
didn't pass. When I was on council, we
Okay.
did that a long time ago. And then I left, and then the new councils come in and they changed it. And I think it was recently discussed again and it wasn't approved.
Really? So 8 years, because we've been hearing that if you have 8 years, that's your max, you're done.
So you can be here all July.
No.
You can be like July.
Because some
And
people,
somebody else take it.
As long as the councilman appoints you, but, and I'll make sure, I'll go back and look and see if that changed. My understanding, it didn't pass. It didn't pass, so
Yeah, I think
No, I don't
that's
think-
why.
Who is-
I
there was no
would,
support. I
Yeah.
think Councilman Villalma
right.
was trying to put the limit on, and I know we had a limit a long time ago, and then it went
It
away.
didn't pass, I think nobody gave her a second.
And then section 4 says terms of service in any particular project, activity, or committee are not limited. Does that refer to
Well-
terms of service?
Yeah.
Well-
Where are we?
Well, let's do number one. So we're okay at this point with the 18.
Yeah.
I mean, if you all wanna change again, this can be brought up anytime you wanna make changes.
Okay,
I'm giving you these so you guys can take them, study them,
yes.
and then talk about it maybe next meeting.
Section 1.
So we'll leave that alone. Section 1 is, members are expected to attend regularly scheduled meetings. Because you want that in there.
Yes.
Okay, section 2, if any member is absent for more than 2 unexcused consecutive regular scheduled.
Well, that's.
Honestly, I think that's, it's irrelevant because
It's
you may ask the councilman to replace the person, but the other one's gonna tell you if you're 3 out, you're
Yeah.
out.
Why are we kidding ourselves? We need to put 3.
Yeah, why don't we?
Because it says 3 in the ordinance,
Councilman.
and just put 3 excused or unexcused. Reflect what the ordinance
Or you
says.
don't have to put anything, I mean, it's gonna reflect in the ordinance anyways.
Let's
You can
not-
take it out if you
Yeah,
want.
I would
Maybe
recommend.
we should
Reference,
just-
or just reference.
Reference,
It's
exactly.
all- That's true. You said as a reference reminder,
Reference,
yeah.
okay.
Because it's in the bylaws of the Commission for Women, that's a good point.
So we'll put that.
But correct it with the 3 excused and unexcused.
2018 050.
Oh, 050? I'll get that word.
What is it, 2000?
2018 050.
R? It's R, no?
No, it's 0.
Oh, this is what.
It's an ordinance. Okay, so we're gonna reference the ordinance in that one.
Yes.
So this is kind of just for right now to make changes. We can discuss it again next meeting. And then we'll have a final, and then we'll move forward to present it to council for their approval.
Okay.
So these are just changes that we're discussing right now. So we'll make that change to reflect to refer to ordinance, and the ordinance is 2018-0-050. And then section number 3, any other questions on that? Okay. Section number 3 is members are expected to participate in commission projects, activities, and committees. I know there hasn't been very many projects, and so hopefully with the prior conversation of maybe projects to do, and once council approves them, maybe the next meeting we'll start discussing what type of projects to present to council for their approval. And then from there, you can set up the committees to participate in those projects, and then everyone helps out. And then have them approved by council. And then at that point, then you can start on your projects. But I think we can leave this here. I don't think it affects anything negatively.
No.
Are we in agreement with it?
That's fine.
Okay, number 4, the terms of service in any particular project, activity, or committee are not limited.
Terms of
I think what it's saying is like, okay, if I'm on this selection committee for whatever project, you're not gonna be, you can be there all your life if the commission allows you to. If not, you can rotate into different projects. I don't know if that makes sense. Because it talks about projects or activities.
Well, when we make our action plan, we all pretty much pick our pet project.
Okay.
And
Are we doing an action plan? Because we haven't done it.
So do you want to leave this here, or you don't want to take it out?
Will we be able to, are you going
Revise
to
it.
want an action plan from this committee?
So I would think so on
That would be
different
very
projects.
helpful.
Because there are, even though you guys only have the Hall of Fame, you still have other activities related to the Hall of Fame, like the media
No,
reception.
But we were talking about creating new projects that don't need funding.
Yes.
And
I
things of
think
that
we
nature.
should,
So I mean, we can leave it there. That's
I
not-
Yeah,
think the leave
leave
it
it there
there won't
for now.
affect.
and proceed with an action plan
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
And again, like right now, we're just discussing, we'll discuss it again next meeting, and once we're ready, massage it, and we're ready to move it forward to council for their consideration, we'll do that at that point. Okay, number 5 is resignation, resignation shall be tendered in writing. And that applies to every commission. I mean, when somebody resigns, they're supposed to send, I guess, the liaison of that committee, and then they forward it to me for our records, just that they're resigning for whatever reason. So I don't think it affects anything. That's positive or negative, so we'll leave it there. Okay, Article 4, Commission Officer. A nominating committee established under the provision of Article 5, consisting of 3 commission members, shall be appointed by the chair prior to the end of the current office terms. The nominating committee shall submit recommendations for each officer position for vote by the general membership. Members of the nominating committee are not eligible for the elected office. Don't want to make changes in that. So basically what it's saying is that the chair will select a committee of 3, and those persons cannot run for office within the committee, within the commission.
That's pretty cool.
I think
I
that
like
we
that.
should also allow people to be nominated off of the
Off the floor?
floor.
No, I don't, I know why I can see why you could say that.
Well, I'm just saying it because let's just say you want to run for an office and you're not selected by the commission or the people
The
on
3
the
members
committee,
of the committee.
and you want to
Yeah, I agree.
participate.
You should
But
have
can
a
I tell you
nomination.
something?
You designate a nomination committee,
I think
and
that-
then somebody.
Doesn't, I like that, only because we've had a mixture. I mean, people that just got here, that weren't familiar with anything. I want to be this, I want to be that, and we were appointing them irresponsibly. I think that the committee would look at, what, is this person willing to work? How long has this person been here? Is this person going, instead of just wanting to do it for whatever reason. I think it will have more credibility, And then that person will be asked by the committee if you want to run. And if that person says no, then you move on to the other names.
Okay, the reason why I say this is for this reason. This is a city committee, and if you look at it as that way, and you come in with your city council member, there's no guarantee that you're gonna be here after 4 years. So if you should have new people coming in and out. The fact that they're being appointed to the committee means that the city councilman wants them to participate. So just because they've been here a month doesn't mean they're not qualified to run for an office.
I'm not saying that they're not qualified. What I'm saying is they're skipping the other person who is qualified because they beat it to the punch. We've had several things in the past that have not been balanced in that area. If let's say you really wanted it and you're in the nominating committee and everybody says, well, you know, Sandra established this, you earned it. You just didn't get it. But I think you should be nominated by the committee and not it be out of random. Well, I want it because I think I'm qualified.
What is clear here is we need a committee that can nominate, right?
Well, if you want to keep that, this is what we're talking about. Do you want to keep this process, or do you want to take?
I'd say we do.
I think we need to add.
I'd just like to make a comment if I may, Madam Chair. Is there anywhere that it says here that, let's say, on seniority basis, let's say, you know, just to be courteous to the people that have been here longer than all of us, and they might want to serve, can we give them priority also? Is there any?
But this isn't a club, and it's not about being here 10, 15 years. Your term should be 4 years if you're with a city council member. The fact that other people have been here longer, that's great, and that's probably giving them even more opportunities to participate in the committee. But I don't think that you should not get nominations off of the floor when you're gonna elect, because we're a committee.
From the floor?
No, you should not get nominated.
This does not allow that.
Against that, I'm just saying that, is there any, I'm just going back, like, you say it's not a club, I don't understand. We're a committee that we are just, you know, advisory to them. But if we can see people that have been here longer, I know I have been here a long time.
But Sylvia, I think that should be a discretion of the
committee.
But I think if you are 4 years for your city, the person that elect you, and then you finish the 4 years, you start again, like new. It's not like you have 4 years of seniority, or it's another chance that they are giving to you, but they doesn't mean that you have more chance than I have.
There's no criteria. And there's no established.
I mean, this is the only thing that's established right now.
Yeah.
And that's a question, if you want to change it.
The discussion should take.
I just want to add food for thought, that if we were to go down to 9 members, it'll be harder for a committee to select 3 people out of the 9. It would be easier to get nominations from those who wanted to serve as an officer. Right now at 18, there's a large pool for a committee to pull from. But if you cut the committee in half, then that nominating committee is going to have and then you take out them, so that only leaves 5 people, you have to get 3 from the 5.
And I will say, normally in any organization, you have a nominating committee, but you will always take nominations from the floor. And that's not here, so I would say that needs to be added.
Well, we're going to talk about that because we're not all in agreement with that.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about that later, right? Or did you?
Well, these were just because we still have to rewrite these, and if we want to rewrite them, and then.
I mean, whatever changes that we come up with
Just make a note.
Yeah.
And then
Can
we
we see how many
discuss.
people want to change it?
I mean, you guys can make motions. I mean, it's
Yeah,
up
how
to
many
you.
people want to add nominate from the floor?
adding from nominations from the floor.
Make a motion. You can't just do it like that. You can make a motion.
Okay.
I move that we adjust it to read nominations accepted from the floor.
So keep it the same, but also.
Just that
Yes.
Who's in favor?
Second.
Who second?
How many are there?
Because it's going to be recorded,
Yeah.
pero.
¿Cuántos son?
Okay, you second that?
Yes.
Who was in favor?
How many
In favor, raise your hands, we can take a count.
That's
I'm
majority.
sorry, no les oí. What are we voting on?
You're going to keep the 3, the chairperson will create a committee of 3 people to make
We're
recommendations.
gonna keep that.
Plus
Any
There'll be
nominations
nominations from the floor.
Yes. Who's, who are
But,
these
but
that-
please do not, one of the things that we should not do is, how many of you want it? Anybody want to do this?
Yeah.
It's not
No,
like
no,
a
no.
lottery.
But let's be clear with one thing right now. This is what's in place. Until council approves this,
Right.
this is what's in place.
Gotcha, gotcha,
So until
gotcha.
then, nothing changes.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So we're gonna
If
put
they
this
say
as
no,
a
it's no.
recommendation that's gonna go to council for their approval
Yes.
and consideration. And they can change it. They can say, no, you know what, forget
Yeah.
the committee,
Yeah.
just nominations or whatever. So it's up to council at the end of the day.
So you're
Okay.
not
So we're-
automatically make chair if you're vice chair.
No,
No,
I think that was
wait,
one thing that
We
they
haven't
said.
We haven't gone to that part yet.
So right now, this is the way it is, but we're gonna try to add, we're adding
I'm hoping that.
that you get nominations from the floor, in
Yes.
addition to the 3-member committee.
Yes.
Ah, pues está bueno.
Okay, then section 1 is,
I mean, really?
section 1 is chair. The chair is elected by the members and and presiding over the commission meetings, represents the commission as necessary, appoints special and standing committees, and serves as ex officio member of all committees.
That's fine.
Yeah.
That okay? We good?
That's okay.
What? Okay, okay, section number 2 is the vice chair. Or now it was changed to chair-elect, and chair-elect is elected by the members and represents the chair in her absence, which is kind of contradictory to what we're saying right now. Because if you're the chair-elect, that would mean
You're
you're next, you're coming in next.
Sure.
But
Very good.
all it says is that they represent the chair in the absence.
Well, we should remove
Pero así es
it.
como se está.
Just leave it as vice chair instead of chair. Like
Yeah.
that.
But that's what it is.
Is that what it is? Because chair.
Well, there's two things. One is chair-elect as a name. The chair-elect is elected by the members. All it means is like you're the vice chair, they elect you as a vice chair.
Like Mayor
And
Pro Tem.
then represents the
I
chair
was
in their
about to say
absence.
yes, can we have it be like that, the way the mayor has it? It's mayor, then mayor pro term, just be the chair pro term, whatever.
Wait, it's a vice chair.
For vice chair. For
Vice chair is
clarification
the
purposes.
I think
Yeah.
vice chair,
Yeah.
which is what it was
Okay.
called before originally, and I don't know
Yeah.
why it changed.
So you don't wanna make a motion to
You
that
know what, I
effect?
do know why it changed, because I was here, that's when, it changed because the intention was for that person to move up
To move up.
into the chair's position without election, but we don't want, I don't think that the city council doesn't allow that.
I don't know the law. In other words, what I'm gonna do, whatever recommendation we come up with, or the group comes up with, I'm gonna forward them to
So
legal,
we,
to make sure that they're all legal.
So vice
Yeah.
chair.
yeah, so then,
Vice chair.
to
You
make
make
a
a
motion
To-
to go back first to have it to vice chair instead of chair elect.
I
Yeah,
second.
put 2 seconds.
I will second the motion.
I vote
Those in
yes.
favor?
Aye. Okay.
Okay,
So I have a question now.
okay.
Well,
Well, they
going
already
back to
passed.
this, okay, if you're saying the chair-elect, and I'm only bringing it up because it affects me.
Okay.
When I was elected, I was told that I would be the incoming president as chair-elect. So now you're saying this is how it stands right now, and it's not gonna change until it gets approved by the
Yeah.
council.
Yeah, well,
When did it get approved?
well, this has to change. I mean, any changes that are recommended tonight have to be approved by council, no matter what.
Yeah.
And so, right now, the way it stands is chair-elect is defined as, the chair-elect is elected by the members and represents the chair in the absence.
It doesn't say you will inherit the chair the
No, but
following year.
she's telling you here what,
Well,
that's
it-
why
But it
it's
doesn't
changed.
say
But
that.
it's not written, but that was
It's
the
not
intention.
written. It had to be clarification, and there's no.
That's not my decision, that's,
Yeah.
I'll leave that up to the
I would
committee. The
challenge
committee
that.
says,
I would
up
challenge
here, in writing, the committee of 3 are the members that are appointed by the chair
Keep that.
to make recommendations as far as the officers.
So so you say we have to keep that, but over here you're not gonna keep
It's
that.
No, you keep it, but it doesn't say that you become the chair. It
Right.
But
just-
she's telling you she was
No.
here at that time.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
what I read.
Pero,
Yeah,
No.
you're right, but I would refer to him in that it isn't worded that way. Oh, that may have been the intention when we rewrote it,
I'm
but
not trying
it
to stop
doesn't.
anybody from doing anything, I'm just
But
saying,
now
when it says
after-
here,
After looking at the wording, I don't think that
yeah,
that's.
the wording, I mean, it might say it in the word, like that's the intent,
Yeah.
But what the word says, it just says you're elected by the
Yeah,
committee
we
to
have
be
to
the
elect her as
chair-elect.
chair.
Or you could ask legal of that, because the chair-elect would.
Oh, that's-
But it contradicts number one. It contradicts a nominating committee consisting of 3 commission members shall be appointed by the chair prior to.
Make recommendations.
To make the recommendation, so it doesn't jive.
But it's not, that's not the only elected position.
Well, we're gonna keep going to the other ones.
So, maybe you can clarify with legal, because it is here the chair-elect and the chair is up here. So that would be.
It doesn't, yeah, I mean, anyway.
I understand, and I'll look at that. But just from what I read, it just says that you're elected by the members, and in the absence, you're the chair. That's all it says. But we'll check into that, I'll get back to you guys. Okay, now, and the motion was to go back to vice chair,
Yes.
correct?
That's all it was.
And that was
Doesn't
approved.
change anything else, just the title.
Just the title.
Yeah.
Okay, section number 3, recorder. The recorder is elected by the members and maintains accurate records of all commission meetings.
Didn't y'all wanted to recommend Ms. Cuellar to be the recorder? Since she's always present and she's very good. Didn't y'all mention that about the secretary?
I don't remember that.
When?
Last meeting, I remember.
Yeah, the last meeting, I think we
Because
met.
right now,
Did we say
the
no?
commission doesn't have anybody,
The
right?
secretary, no.
No.
And
We
we're
don't
calling
have
it
one.
recorder, not secretary.
And,
Oh,
and
no,
I
that's
thought she
Because
was-
when we started with Silvia Leal, but she resigned, and then.
And then Claudia.
Are we
took
taking
over.
nominations now? I mean.
Well, no, that's
No,
that's
no,
an
no, we
item on
just
the,
did.
that is an item on the agenda after we do this.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Just so we could keep this one.
Okay, so then we leave it alone.
Yes.
We're good? Okay. Section 4, parliamentarian. Parliamentarian is elected by the members and assigned, and assess the commission in parliamentary law.
Awesome.
So we leave that, the
Yeah.
Robert rules, how you run the meeting.
We'll keep that one.
Okay. Section 5, terms of office. All elected officers shall serve a period of 1 year. Commencing October 1st, elected officers may be re-elected. You want to keep that?
To the same position?
Yes.
I thought it
It's
said.
assumed.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
you may have the same person run for 2
Yeah, and-
consecutive years as chair?
And the
if
way
they
the
want.
process is right now, the way the process is, since the beginning, it says the commission, once the chairperson selects 3 people, those 3 are gonna make recommendations, and then the floor, everybody votes on it. The way it is written right now. I know the
Good
changes,
to
we
know.
have nominations, and so they can recommend the same people. Or,
That's good, because I was thinking that it was just 1 year and then, so.
so that's okay, the way it is, with everyone? Okay.
Yeah.
Section 6, committee chairs. Committee chairs may be appointed by the chair or designated by the committee.
Oh, wow, I didn't know.
On I guess different projects and stuff.
Yeah, interaction plan,
Yeah.
we would have
So-
someone
we always
assigned
do with
to.
them.
So leave that alone, or you all want to make changes?
No,
Designated by,
Because it's actually giving authority to 2 bodies, a chair
Right.
and then
Chair and the committee.
designated by committee.
and the whole
Yeah.
committee, so
That's
we could
good.
all vote to make somebody a chair?
Committee chairs may be appointed by the chair. So the chair doesn't appoint it, then you could opt to designate a committee. The appointment of the chair would overrule, right? Because it may be
This is
appointed by
for-
the chair.
No,
Yeah.
it doesn't say here.
It says may be
It
appointed
says-
by the chair, or, not and, must be designated by the
No, but it's,
committee.
the way it
May.
reads,
It gives it.
Either or.
it's either or.
So if the chair appoints, then there's no sense for the committee to designate.
I think what you guys should clarify and designate
Yeah.
authority
Yeah.
to 1 body, not 2, because then
Because
There we go.
if she said, okay, you're gonna do this, and then somebody else don't like it, it's
Yeah.
gonna start the discussion,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna take,
Yeah, we're not gonna
Yes.
get anywhere.
Yes,
I
we
think
need to
it's
be
your-
clear who's
Yeah, I
gonna-
think it needs to be clear.
Yes,
Take the-
who's
the-
gonna-
Do you want to make a
part.
motion to try to clear it up
Designated by committee?
right
Yeah.
now?
Can
designated by
it's
a
me.
committee, who agrees on that?
So Francis has
I'm saying let's get rid of that part of designate.
designated by
The
committee?
chairperson appoints the committee chair, and that would be, to me, that would be more than then let's say she says, okay, you're gonna be chair.
Yeah, because
whatever.
if there's a committee of
And then the
three, and then the
committee-
three say, no, we want him to be the chair, but that's pleito. So it's better just have one person.
One person
One person
appointed
do
by
it.
the chair.
So then erase, we remove the or designated by
Yes.
committee.
Right. Yes.
So I make a motion?
Yes.
Una persona en el
I'll make a motion to remove or designated by the committee and for it to remain only committee chairs may be appointed by the chair, period.
I second.
I think the word may should
Seconds?
go out of the two. May-
Oh, that's true, okay, committee chairs.
Shall be appointed,
Shall,
shall be
yes.
appointed.
Shall?
Yeah.
So you're gonna basically,
The chairperson's gonna appoint all the chair people of all committees.
Before her
Nos
term
hagan lo que
expires.
está.
okay,
Really, do you guys
I second the
agree
motion.
to that?
you already second step, so everybody in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? No one opposed?
Ya sé que va a ser, ya voy a ver pleitos después. I already know that.
Sí, don't worry, girl, you're not gonna be here. It's okay.
Section 7, resignation from an elected officer. Position must be in writing and presented at a regular meeting, monthly meeting, prior to the vacancy of the office when possible. Replacement of the officer will be left to the discretion of the remaining officers with the confirmation of the commission.
What?
Appointments
Yeah, that contradicts.
for vacancies will be for unexpired term. So I don't know if it, what the-
Appointment for vacancies will be for the unexpired term.
well, officers, I guess, the chair, vice chair.
In the
Parliament.
6th month, someone resigns.
Yeah.
So the person that the remaining officers will say, okay, we'll pick this other
Yes,
person, and
that's
they'll
right.
serve for the rest of the
So-
6 months until the next
So
cycle.
let's say
election
the
cycle.
recorder resigns, then it's up to the chair, the vice chair in the future, or chair-elect right now, parliamentarian, to decide who they're gonna pick to be the recorder.
Until the next election cycle.
Until, the next year or whatever.
That's good.
So everything's okay?
that. Yeah.
Appointments of vacancies within, okay. Section 8, the commission may establish such other officers as the commission may deem necessary.
That's fine.
Sergeant at arms or
Historian, I think
Historian.
when you're.
bouncer, I don't know.
Yeah, when you're. Referee.
No, so I mean, that gives you the opportunity to create other positions if you like. I think that would be good.
The commission meeting as a whole, like everybody needs to vote.
Yeah. May establish other officers, so if somebody makes a motion, I'd like to establish that we have a sergeant at arms position. And second it, then everybody votes, yes, okay, now there's that creation. It might not be in the bylaws, but it's a created position. Okay, article, so we're good with that one, right? Okay, Article 5, committees. Special and standing committees may be created as needed to support the commission projects and activities. The chair may designate committee members, or the commission members may volunteer for the committee of their choice.
That's the way it is right now.
Fine.
That's the way it's made.
I think it's good.
You can volunteer.
Yeah. Okay, then we're good with that one. Okay, Article 6, meetings. The commission shall meet once a month or at the call of the chair. The meeting will be held at a time and place designated by the chair.
It needs to revert back.
Yeah, that part's gonna be out.
Esto lo quitamos, yo creo. The 7 members.
The 7, yeah, that has to be out.
A majority of the
cross that out.
membership,
But the
10 shall
place
constitute a
also.
quorum.
Yeah, the place.
Yeah, the place, no, it should be
Majority
here.
plus
Yeah,
one,
we
no,
don't have an option with the place.
a majority plus
And
one,
that's
isn't that what it is?
designated.
All
It's
questions
50
of
plus one.
parliamentarian. Parliamentary, not addressing.
Let's hurry it up.
Okay, sorry. I
Okay.
don't read
Oh,
fast.
yeah.
We're almost finished, I don't read that fast, but we're almost
I
finished.
don't know if you all remember when Ms. Diana Rodriguez was the president, there was a motion in place that it exempted the city secretary's office, and I know I'm not gonna be here, but whoever takes place, it is not the responsibility of the city secretary's office to notify the commission. We do it as a courtesy. because there were instances that we will get blamed for certain members not being present. But it is understood that every second Monday, I don't know if you all want to include it there.
Well, I wouldn't say every second, I mean, it's, well,
No,
Or
not,
regularly
not,
scheduled monthly meeting.
yes, I would just say regular schedule, and I would say that about the city secretary not being responsible for notifying us.
Right, it is
because-
not the responsibility of.
well, the staff liaison, because you never know, it might not be with us in the future.
If
Uh-huh.
it's on
So
the job.
the staff liaison is not responsible.
What do you mean it would not be with you? What do you mean it would not be with you?
No, I'm just saying, you in the future, right now we have it,
The chair of the committee that emails.
our staff is assigned the commission right now. But if the council says, okay, we want maybe the convention and visitors bureau to take it over, or another department, it's just a matter of, they move over and we're out. But, that's what I'm saying, I want to be specific.
Or the chair, we can get the chair.
So the commission shall meet once a month,
Or a call by.
or at a call,
Or
or,
the call.
but do you just want the chairperson to call? Because let's say you need to discuss some business.
Secretary, no?
Well, no, I would say, well,
Normally.
the vice chair? Or like the council, the way they do it is you have a scheduled meeting, and then any 4 councilmen plus the mayor, I think, can call a special meeting. So it takes 5. But that's a majority. So I don't know if the, you know, there's something that needs to get done, and you need a special meeting. Do you want to have an option where a majority of the members would like to call a special meeting?
I think the city, in
Or
order,
quorum.
the city requires that, because this would happen with us in the historic landmark board,
Uh-huh.
that you have to vote to call a special meeting. So you all have to get,
Well, but we couldn't even get quorum for the regular.
No.
You know, to actually get emails and responses from each member saying, yes, we can, because we have to try this, when we had the Hall of Fame, it was a nightmare, trying to get everyone to agree
but you're
to a time and-
but you're redoing a meeting, but like in our case, if we had to have a special called meeting
Uh-huh.
to meet with community members that were presenting their case or whatever, we would have to all vote
Well,
on
let me
it,
ask
on what
you,
we were gonna do.
is
Well, we can't vote right now until Ms. Warowski gets.
Let me ask you,
We-
is
we
it
don't
such
have
an
a quorum.
inconvenience to leave it the way that we were doing it? As a courtesy, the city secretary's office sends an email?
No, we'll send an email, that's not a problem with
I
us.
think,
The only thing is,
That's
if you're scheduled for this day, and other committees have been told, like plan zoning, they always meet on a certain day of the month, and that's it. So, they still send out the courtesy, but their members are expected to be there on that
right.
day,
Regardless.
regardless. And so, even council has a regular, we send out, can you let us know you're gonna show up?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
2 or 3 councilmen will
And
say
people
yes, I'm
don't
going, or
respond.
whatever.
Or can we just designate it to one of the officers and all the other organizations that I'm at? It's one of the officers that sends a reminder to everybody with the agenda.
Well, yeah, until we get organized. But in the meantime,
Should
as a courtesy,
Secretary.
Pero pues ahorita ella porque bien buena onda lo hace.
But you
sabemos que
shouldn't
nos va a
have to,
tocar.
it
Let
should be
us
us,
approve
as
it.
elected officers.
Entonces de nosotros, es nuestro trabajo.
leave it up.
Well, you still have to let us know, because we have to post whenever you
Yeah,
wanna hold the
right.
meeting. And so, I mean, once we know, we can send, I mean, so as a courtesy, we'll do it, we don't have a
And
problem with
obviously,
that.
there's
Okay.
descriptions of responsibilities when you are in office. So we should go to
Pero
that.
no estar esperando a que si ellos no lo mandan, no vamos a venir.
But what if, when we call a meeting and some people call and say, I'm not going or whatever, we're not gonna have a quorum? Que no se hablen
You
para-
still have to have
No,
a
you have
meeting.
to come, because if you don't come here, when they call roll, you're absent, and 3 of those, you're.
Even if we don't have a
Even if
quorum,
we're not gonna have a quorum.
like today, even if you don't have a quorum, it doesn't matter. If you need to be here at this
Yeah,
meeting, you need to be here.
exactly.
Because then we're gonna be taking roll call.
Yes.
Birthday or no birthday, waiting for you, Virginia, no
So
importa.
then you have to come anyway.
I know, we need to hurry up.
Cumpleaños del esposo.
Sí, Sandra has
Cumpleaños de la
That's
hija.
okay,
Ese
don't
cumpleaños no
worry.
me gusta a mí.
It's okay.
Okay,
Hacemos
bueno.
más Sandra.
But we gotta wait for Ms. Rorowski to get
Oh,
back,
Ms.
because we don't have a quorum right now.
But are
If
we
you wanna
voting,
take action,
are we voting, are we taking action on this?
you don't wanna change it, or you don't wanna leave it alone?
That's, well,
Well, we gotta change, we're gonna eliminate the 7-member
can we leave
commission.
it alone for now, or does everybody want?
I mean, we can bring it back next meeting.
No, we just take off that thing the way we did it earlier, that we
Yeah,
put
Like a pending.
Well, we can revisit this when she comes back.
Porque lo vamos
in.
a volver a revisar.
So we're saying we're gonna take out the 7-member commission
Yes.
It's gonna be
as a
10,
quorum,
the
yeah.
quorum.
May I ask while she comes back, who made the motion and seconded on the vice chair?
It was me, I made the motion.
I seconded it.
Esther.
Thank you.
Do you want us to move on to the next one, just to
Sure.
discuss it?
Yeah, meanwhile.
Okay, Article 7, reports. The commission shall make a complete written report of its findings, activities, and recommendations to the mayor and city council as needed.
Okay, I have a question regarding that. Isn't there a required report at the end of the year?
It's a biannual that the liaison gives, all the liaison gives the city secretary a biannual report of who attended, what issues were discussed, the minutes of every meeting.
Do you have a template or something so that everyone can
Yes,
follow
because
the
I
same
think
thing?
last year you weren't able to complete it because you didn't have a lot of the minutes, right? And so that should be our responsibility to have that.
I sent whatever we had, but I did make a note that we did not have the minutes for that meeting.
Okay, if we can just revisit the Article 6,
Yes.
and just to, if someone would make a motion to eliminate the 7 members of the commission shall constitute a quorum.
I make the motion that
Want
we
to make a
eliminate
motion?
the 7
Well,
members.
She had her hand raised, so Ms.
Okay.
Cuellar, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
yes. I make the motion to remove the 7 members of the commission, and first to do it as we did with the previous, that it was just based on whatever the city has on there for the members.
I'll second.
For the
2
quorum.
seconds.
I second.
Sandra seconds.
All right.
Who's in favor? Everybody?
No one opposed? Okay.
No, motion carries.
Okay, any other issues with that item? No? We're good on that for right now? Okay. Then, okay, now as far as the reports, the commission shall make the complete written report of the findings, activities, and recommendations to the mayor and city council as needed.
Was this ever done?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I know
she
that
has
the-
to do it every year.
I know that
She has
we
to
give, every commission and committee and board has to provide this biannual.
We provide.
We need
She
to
doesn't have
provide.
to do it. We provide. So my question
Right, but she had to
was,
turn
my
one in.
question was, were we, the commission, doing that before? That was my question. You were president, did you do that before?
I'm sorry, do what again?
That of the.
Article 7.
Que si ustedes daban el
Provide a written
reporte.
report as needed.
No.
It was never done.
Well, I know every
And this
committee
has
does,
been
so they
years.
have to turn it in.
I
No,
had
but we have to
minutes.
provide her. She
Well,
does.
she gets the minutes from us.
Well, it
provide
goes
the
back
report.
to the duties, like I said, another organization I met, it's the secretary that does this, because she's the one that's doing all the minutes and has the,
Submits.
so you just have to turn in the minutes for the
Correct.
year.
You need-
So I think it just has to go back to the
You need a
recorder.
description
Whoever
of
the
her
reporter is.
That should be
responsibilities,
appropriate.
yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yes, and then she will, she'll
Yeah,
connect
we
on
just
our
submit
behalf.
to
And we come back every January
That's
to
the way
council.
it's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
That's not how it's
So
done?
we leave it alone.
That's the way it's done.
Yeah, that's the way it is done.
Being able
You
to
don't do it, you provide order,
Right, but she has to turn it
And then
in.
we'll go back.
Right, she has to turn it in as the
It has
liaison.
to go through her.
Exactly.
Provide
Okay, a la siguiente.
for clarification.
So then we're good there.
Yes.
Article
Okay.
8.
Article 8, commission liaison. A liaison is selected by the city managers, shall provide assistance to the commission.
It's above our system.
Literally got selected by the city manager. It's been a wonderful experience.
Qué lindo.
Tengo un dolor de cabeza.
Okay, so, y'all wanna make changes to that? I'll recommend changes.
I
move
think
forward.
on the assistance to the committee, I think maybe it should be specified as to what we can expect from the staff.
Well, I think legal made a legal opinion as far as what the role of every liaison in every commission is.
very good.
And we'll provide that.
Can we, okay,
We'll
so we'll
provide
add
that.
that, yes.
We'll provide that for you guys to
As per
consider.
city
As per
Okay.
Yeah,
city or
okay,
board
can I do
legal
that then?
opinion.
policies.
I motion that we include there shall provide assistance based on the city of Laredo, whatever.
The legal,
Legal opinion.
the legal
Yeah,
opinion,
yes,
that's
yes.
legal.
So that
Based on
we're
the governing.
governing the city's ordinance, yeah, to
Yeah.
avoid
I
any
second that.
misunderstanding.
You second? Everybody in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Good point, Ernie.
Okay.
And I'll bring you back what that is at the
Yes,
next
please.
meeting.
Yeah.
You already have
And if he doesn't, I'll tell him to invent something.
No, there is something
Yeah.
I wanna say there
We just
is.
want it to be the proper terms.
Yeah. Article number 9, finances. None. Commission shall request funds from city projects.
We just need to take away the last.
But it's here.
There's a mail.
What do you mean it's here?
Right.
It's here. It's voted by council.
It's not legal in the state statute. That's the problem.
Okay, then just take it away.
Have you recognized, please? Dice aquí que dice, and special needs, the commission may also seek other sources of revenue, other than getting it from the city council and the budget.
But just.
That was when we're doing the fundraising, right?
Well, this is
So
a
we need to
problem.
take that away.
Years later, and I have an attorney opinion, basically stating the statutes. I don't know if everyone's provided a copy before. If not, I'll get you one for next meeting. That basically says you can't do that. It's illegal. And so, again, this was done a long time ago. Maybe it wasn't checked by legal to see if you could do it.
But yeah, let's take away the second.
I make a motion that we take away the commission may also seek.
We have a motion on the floor.
Can I do that, Julie?
What was your motion? We have a motion on the floor.
Digo yo que le quitemos, the commission may also seek other sources of revenue. We can't do it.
Yeah,
Second.
Can we take that off then?
Is that your motion?
Yeah, let me ask you a question for you.
Yes.
Can we leave that thing on funds, according to what Salinas?
I think that the first part,
Yes.
I think you can because you're asking the city.
Yes.
And so they can always say no, or they can say yes, and legal's gonna stop them there.
Okay.
The other part where you're looking for sources of other revenues,
That's the one.
that's the one where you're going out of the,
That's my motion.
That's
Second.
To remove that.
Second already.
Everybody in favor?
Perfect.
It's approved.
It's in reference to the Ornelas memo that we
Right,
recently
yes.
got.
Yeah.
That was written in 2017.
So did the motion pass?
Yes.
so we're good? Okay.
voted?
Oh.
I Nobody said nay.
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Todos.
Anyone against? No?
Nadie.
Okay.
No.
Article 10, amendments. Section 1, the bylaws may be amended at a regular meeting of the commission by 2/3 vote of the commission members present, provided that notice of any proposed amendments is sent to every commission member 14 days prior to the meeting at which the vote is scheduled. So do we even have 2/3? What is 2/3 of 18? Math teachers.
5 or 6.
No,
No.
of those
more?
present.
12.
Present, it says here.
Oh,
members
2/3 of those present.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So if whoever's here, but you do have to send it out 14 days, and that's,
2/3.
that is
Well,
standard.
we're not changing these because again, they have to be approved by council. We're gonna represent everything again to all the members at the next meeting. And then if everybody says we're good with it, then we'll present it in probably in December to the council for their consideration. So we'll have enough time.
But this is pretty
to abide by
standard
that.
on everything, the
Okay.
14 day notice.
Okay, so we're good with that. Section number 2 is any amendment to the bylaws shall become effective immediately upon the review and approval by city council of the city of Laredo. That's it. Okay. Now, Miss Sylvia had a question. She wanted to change the name.
Yes, on the recorder, when they set the recorder, it means that it's a secretary, right, Joe?
Yeah, basically that's what it is.
Did y'all, I would like to change it to say secretary instead of recorder.
What do you call it?
Secretary.
Yeah,
Whatever it is.
I agree.
With the rest.
The recorder, I feel like it's a recorder like you're recording, you know? I think it should be more professional, you know, as
Do we have to make a
professional
motion
women
for
should
that?
be.
I would.
Yeah.
Well, Sylvia, do you want to make a motion for that?
I like to make a motion that the word recorder on whatever article it is.
And which one is
It's Article 4, Section 3.
That we take that name off and we put secretary.
I second.
I second. Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Anyone
Any
opposed?
opposed?
Who's opposed?
No one?
No one opposed it.
In clarifying under Article 9 on the finances, where it says the commission shall request funds for projects. Now, there's no timeline or anything, so can I read that as, you know, there's no guarantee of what our budget is going to be every year, but mid-year, if we come up with a project can we request additional funds?
Let me do this because I know that was an issue, the funding, and I know legal has an issue with that. Let me clarify with them this section, and see if they have any issues of their own, and then I'll bring back that report to the commission next meeting when we have a meeting.
Because if it happens to be on a year that we're gonna have, we pretty much use up what we've been allocated for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But if, for whatever reason, we propose to reemerge the Young Women's Day at TAMU or something, and we need some additional funds, can we go back in addition to what we've been given for?
Well, checking with legal, I would think that you could request it from council. I mean, it's up to them at the end of the day, and legal will tell you right there, no, you can, yes, you can, for whatever the events
But when
are.
you say council, you're talking about.
City council.
City council or your individual council?
No, city council.
City council.
Yes.
No, I was gonna add on that, because I did talk to my city council member, because everybody's talking about the budget. I hadn't been here, I didn't know what the amount was. And all he told me was that it's not a problem, that all we have to do is we present what our idea is, and they approve our idea, then from there we can say this is how much it's gonna cost, but we can't just throw a number out there. They wanna see like, this is the quote.
And one thing that,
And so they said we just have to ask, and it was fine, but we just have to go and do it, and go to their
One
meeting
thing-
and be on the agenda and
if
everything.
I could add to
I
that, one
was
thing
told
that
the
was
same.
mentioned between management and some council members, they were saying since like the whole city was cutting back 5% in every department. And so this year we had put 0 because we're only gonna do the Hall of Fame. And so what we were trying to look at and was recommended by them was, let's see if we can use one of the city facilities to hold it.
Yeah.
And I think it was mentioned last meeting,
Yes.
either the Max, or we're looking at the library, the same big meeting room. But it just depends on how many people are gonna go, so if you'll have an attendance from the prior years of how many folks go to the Hall of Fame, so we can get numbers, see where they would fit, and that's more feasible for the city, because I think it's $4,000, más o menos.
Last
And the account right
Hall
now?
of Fame, we spent $12,000.
Well,
And
but right now what's left? 4,000?
like, yeah, like.
Is that what they
almost
allotted
4,000.
for 2819?
That's 0 for 2819.
Oh,
Right now, it's only 4,000 in the account,
Yes,
my
4,000
understanding.
and some.
Now, if there's, what that will entail should be only for awards and food. And that's why we can use like the Max, and I'm talking to one of the, Mr. Martin Aleman, he's in charge of it, I found out recently. And so I asked him, what's the cost? And it's a city function, city or commission. And so he's checking that out for me, but he was asking how many folks.
She already has some.
I have some information for you. You can look at it and then
Okay.
it's got details.
That's without the discount, if you will.
Well, and that's what I'm saying.
No, this is knowing it's a city.
Just for clarification purposes for the commission, are they gonna have a Hall of Fame on a yearly basis, or is it gonna be
Okay,
every
yeah,
2 years
'cause
like they have done it in the past?
Habían dicho cada 2 años, ¿no?
No, but the last year we said every year.
I think it should be every 2 years. I think we need to actually come in and vote on that,
Yes.
because every year is just a little bit, I mean, in my opinion, but I think as a group, we need to go ahead and vote on that. So,
But I think there was made to have it every year.
Was it always every year? or-
No, it was every 2 years.
It used to be every year when it was started.
No, it was every 2 years.
No, it was every year. But one time before you came in, it was every
Would
year.
it be better?
Because I was the chair
Yeah, I
every
mean,
year,
just
so
I remember it was
and then
every
it
year.
was
every year, and then
And then
somehow
they
along the
changed
way it cut down to every other year. Now, last year when we met with the attorneys here and all of that, we were told it was gonna, that was really the only project we're gonna have.
it. Right.
So,
That's
so then
Is
we
it
went
every
back
year?
to thinking, well, it's
Es
gonna
lo
be
que vamos a hacer cada año.
cada año.
Ah,
If that's gonna be our project, then that's,
But that's not our project anymore.
well,
But we
based
haven't,
on
we
the
don't
bylaw
have
they told
anything
us.
else.
Based on the bylaws that have already been,
Well-
so the bylaws.
Because we always have to go to city council, I think we should just leave it to where, as approved by city council, and if we get money from them, because if we don't get no money, it's no point in.
No vamos a
doing it.
alcanzar ni para
No,
medio.
so we just have to say as per city council's approval, so
Well,
depending.
everything's gonna be as per city council. In other
Right,
words,
that's
even the way, I think,
Yeah.
and I know we're kind of long on this right now, but, you know, so.
Yeah.
The only, okay, so I think that Dolores had a good question, and I don't think that it's really been answered.
Okay.
We are going to be budgeting, if you will, and we're gonna be at the discretion of the budget approval by city council every year, and that just happened, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, and we have $0 officially, 4,000 left over.
Mhm.
So if you obviously do the math, 4,000 would not be enough. I mean, yeah, you can say $10 a plate, $10 a plate, and 40 people would be, you might be able to manage that, but the whole thing is this, how can we not know in advance if they're going to allot funding for the Hall of Fame for the incoming year?
This is how I think it should work from here on out. It should be, what projects are we doing? We're doing a Hall of Fame.
The
How many,
action plan.
no, the action plan. What projects are we doing? What's required funding wise? What will we need? Do you need to rent a room? Okay, well, we can use this, the library. I go back to the library because it's one of the bigger rooms that the city has. Then you don't need to rent a room. So then each project has to have a budget. And then remember, those projects are gonna be approved by council. Now, council has the ability during the year to adjust their budget. The county doesn't. The counties, they're under state law. We're under home rule, so we can adjust our budget as they go. Now, I'm not saying that they will, but once they approve a project, attached with the approval of the project, there has to be a budget with it. But you just can't say, we want $7,000 to do the project.
But I'm going to tell you right now, I mean, realistically, that is not the way business is done. You don't plan on something and then hope, keep your fingers crossed that city council is going to do it after the fact. It should be before the fact. It should be in the budget. If you do 4,000, you're talking about $20 a person. Okay, so then there's definitely, and at 200. Well, there's definitely no tablecloths and definitely no chair covers and definitely no flower
The max
arrangements.
provides all that.
And which is good, at no cost to us to help. And then
Well,
we're gonna
that's what
focus
it should be.
only on the meals and maybe we'll make it for the trophies. I mean, do they really want us to do it? I mean,
It's just like
can it be?
No.
like
What's
a little-
important is the action planning. The action planning has the activity,
And
the
that can be-
subcommittee,
that
and the
can-
budget, the amount of money.
Let me, maybe I said it wrong. Whenever you do your action plan, it could be before the budget. If it's approved at the budget, that's great. You have to have a number attached to it and what it's gonna cost.
And that's,
And so, right now we have $4,000. If we need another 1,000, we're gonna put on the agenda to ask them to get another $1,000. We're not just gonna say, well, we can only do 4,000. You know what I'm saying? In other words, we're gonna work with them and they're gonna work with us.
Ellos lo que necesitan es que tú les lleves todo ya estructurado.
Black and white.
De decir, okay, this is my plan, I'm gonna need like 7,000, I just have 4,000.
And they may or they may not
Can you
approve it.
help me with this?
I mean, I know that, I've been in
But-
business for a long time, I know that.
Bueno, pues,
Well, the risk that we're at is, they may or they may not approve it. That's the only risk factor that I have.
But then,
But
but they may or may not approve it at any time. So in other words, if you go
but
for
we all
budget,
have
they'll tell
to
you
see
you
it.
can't
So
do
why
that.
can we not do it in the budget, get it approved, so then we can plan?
With all the technology that they
Why
have.
not? That's
First
what
thing
we
Scott's
do.
gonna say, why do you need
Says you
$10,000 for
No,
what?
I'm not saying 10,000. I'm not-
Or $5,000. They're gonna ask, what is it for?
No, go ahead.
You have the breakdown.
Can we recognize
In your absence, who will we be able to reach out to get access to all of our past financial records?
I'm gonna leave a folder, and
And-
I don't
and
mind.
then
I
so
could share the folder
is
with
it-
with everyone. I could send it on an email, because in every single agenda I had attached the budget. So if you go back to all of the agendas,
Itemized, because I know you do a general entries,
oh, they're itemized by month.
so that we know what we spent.
See.
And I just want to clarify that, if you have an action plan, and during the year, that's for that year, and during the year, you find out, you know what, let's try doing this too, adding another project that you can
Then that's a
manage,
possibility.
we can throw it in there, and we can ask council, hey, look, we want to do this project, it's gonna cost so much, you know, this is what the money's gonna be used for, and legal clears it, They present it to council, they approve it, they approve it. If they don't, then they don't.
And that is great, Joe. I mean, I'm not discussing that. That's fantastic. But my thing is, since all we were supposed to be doing was the Hall of Fame, how could we not have budgeted? I mean, obviously, it's a no-brainer. You're gonna give the breakdown of everything for the approval. You're gonna justify what you're asking for. That is common sense in business world.
Well, there was issues this year, and that's why.
Well, the issues were the money that we had and the money that we didn't have, and blah, 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 and all that, and the city wanted to.
Which one have we
Every
year is what the commission just.
We've never done it. We do it.
Okay.
We don't.
Oh, no, I have one.
No,
Okay, so, next.
There's a 7:15.
Well, I mean, it's been very helpful that you're here because, I
I
mean,
don't know if that caused more
and,
problems or not.
No, I think that's best like that.
Yeah.
Get it from you.
Yeah.
So that was.
And I'll be attending probably from here on out as much as.
I think we'll
Yeah, I
just
think
research
it's
that a
better.
little bit further.
So let me ask this, and I'm just, would our next meeting, would it be wise for us to put together the action plan that we had? I mean, we said it verbally, but we never put it in paper. We're planning for I mean, she has quotes for food from 4 different sources. We knew that we were told, yes. We had,
Library and the night.
Library and
we knew there was
That's
those
all.
2 places, and so she was supposed to do two, and I was supposed to do 2, but I wasn't able to do it, so she came in and took care of the 4 places we were gonna get, I mean, food, catering services, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
So would that be something to work on, or just?
I think the next step would be the officials.
Yeah,
We don't have a recorder, because right now we're still under the bylaws.
Yeah.
And so it says every October, and we're already past that.
Yes.
And so I don't know if that needs to be voted on, and
First.
since we're talking about bylaws, and well, the next item is the discussion with possible action
Yeah, isn't it?
regarding selection of officers and action plan.
So you need a committee? or-
Well, I'm on the elections committee, so I want to formally nominate Sandra to be our chair for the 28th.
No, we're going too fast. We're not even there yet. I don't agree that.
That's the
this is-
next item on the agenda.
No, we're not gonna, I don't agree that we do that today.
Why? We are.
We're rushing this. We are rushing this. We need clarification on the.
We need to select, we need to elect officers. I made a motion to nominate
I am
Sandra.
opposing it, and it was the electing committee, because I think.
I was on the election
Well, I think so was I. I think I was in the election committee, Jen, I think Sonia was in the election committee, and we haven't even discussed it. And I think we were too.
Okay.
There were several of us, and we haven't even discussed it.
Wasn't
Can I-
it you and Alice? No,
I
it was
don't wanna butt in,
me.
but-
It was just 3. It was me, Pat, and Alice.
Has the chair appointed, I guess, is it 3 members?
Yeah, but when do you appoint that?
Well, I think everybody was volunteering and we all were
Well,
driving.
what it says here is
Yeah,
that
we,
the
the minutes should have it.
Yes.
Wait, I mean, where the minutes? No.
Yeah, it says, well, we just want to put the bylaws and it states right here, consists of 3 commissions.
Appointed by
the
chair.
Uh-huh.
So it should only be 3 people and they were appointed by the chair.
That's why I'm asking the chair if she already appointed
Yeah,
3
she did
people
at the
for this
very
coming year.
At the very
I
beginning.
haven't.
No.
Yeah, you appointed them when we appointed the committee
Well,
for
there would
the
have to
whole
be
year.
minutes. I would like to request that we
Sí,
wait
cuando
until
hicimos el
so they can find the
proyecto
minutes.
That's fine, I don't have a problem. I'm just asking, because that would be the next step right now. If you haven't appointed anybody, then you need to appoint
Yes,
3
we
people.
have.
No, I think we need proof, but we need the minutes if not appointed.
You know what
because I
meeting that
don't
was?
have the
Wasn't
minutes.
that a meeting?
December meeting en la posada.
No, you
There were no
had the
minutes?
meeting, it was from the very beginning when we did.
No, I remember clearly it was a Ms. Diana Rodriguez award ceremony. And
That's the first meeting.
Oh, right.
Mr. Valdez was there.
That was the first one, but I don't remember the committees created.
No,
I
I
don't remember.
No, era when they nominated somebody.
But remember you were doing the action plan and you were, that's when they.
We're gonna need a
That was
backup,
for
I'm
this
sorry.
fiscal
I
year
need
que acaba de pasar.
I need it in writing, if not, ella can elect them.
We'll look for the minutes, whatever. you
Okay,
have.
okay, yes.
And whatever we have before.
She already made the nominating committee for this.
You can't proceed, we're not in compliance. We don't have evidence that that is a fact.
Yeah,
She has
she
to
has to
appoint them now, I'm
The
sorry.
action plan that we had is the one from last fiscal year. We haven't created the action plan for
So she'd have to
this fiscal
appoint.
year.
She has to appoint, and she has not appointed, we can't
Could we
proceed.
let her
We
appoint?
can't rush this.
Okay,
We always think that we
If the
rush this.
chair,
check on that minutes. If you
Yeah.
say it's there, I mean, I'm open to check.
Well, can I suggest something right now for the commission? Not to lose any time.
Yes.
We'll review the minutes that we have, and if it states there that
Right,
3 people, the individuals are there, they're on the commission, then they're the nominating committee.
right.
Yes.
In case it doesn't, I would not like to lose any time, so I would ask that a motion be made that the chair select 3 people right now.
Yes.
And if there are prior minutes selecting 3 other people, then those folks are on that committee.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay,
That way we don't lose
I motion that the chair pick the 3 committee members.
right now.
For
I second.
For the,
in case there's no evidence of innocent people being
that
nominated.
way you don't waste time, and next meeting, yeah, you vote on
Okay,
it.
so
And
can-
I agree, I second the
okay,
motion.
there we go.
and so that would be the 3 committee members, as it's written right now. To choose, I guess,
It
to
has to
recommend.
be- Okay,
to the-
my
to the-
question is, it's only present members or absent
Right.
members too?
Let me
It
just,
just says 3 members. It says 3 members.
Diana wants to talk.
let me just clarify
It's-
something. When you guys voted on the selection committee, it was for last fiscal year. We are already on the new fiscal year. Those people that were selected, and those were the ones that selected the people to be the honorees and that went through the.
I remember that,
application.
the
But
honorees,
that was
you were
for
talking
last
about the Hall of
fiscal year.
Fame.
For this fiscal
But-
year, you guys haven't selected anything.
Okay, so then we can let her pick.
Uh-huh, so go
Okay.
ahead.
We should just have a new
Okay,
chair right now,
again,
this month.
has to be
Well, no one wants to-
present members. No, no, no. Tengo que poner en cuenta todo el comité.
Any 3 members. It doesn't say anything about attendance, so any
Yeah,
3 members.
parliamentary.
I'm sorry, I'm the parliamentarian
That's all,
lady.
Sylvia?
Let's just have the floor here.
Okay, again, absent members too?
It just says
It
members.
doesn't specify on
Yeah,
there.
It's members. But remember one thing, they're gonna
Qualifying.
get together, well, they're gonna get together, they're gonna nominate people. So if they don't come to the meetings and they don't get together,
They can't.
same vote. So I would choose someone that's been attending the meetings, even if they're absent.
Yeah.
But they've been trying to come to the meetings.
So then how does she, she just throws names
She
out?
just picks 3 people.
She just picks 3 people and
Yeah, I think
Committee.
why we went through the bylaws, it says, a nominating committee established under the provisions of article consisting of 3 commission members shall be appointed by the chair prior to the end of the current office terms. And it didn't say anything about attendance, it just
Right.
says 3 members.
Okay,
So,
so the question is, are we putting you on the spot right now? Would it be better for you to email them to,
No, not really, I'm just checking, I'm analyzing, you know, who's.
Remember, the 3 people you select can then not be
Not
nominated for
run.
officer.
yeah, they're not gonna
Oh, yeah, I was
be.
gonna finish that.
They have to accept.
Yeah, it says,
los que tú escoges no puedes.
yeah, it says,
Y tienen que aceptar, si no quieren estar en el
I'm
comité,
sorry,
no.
just for clarification purposes, the committee that she's gonna select, it's for the selection committee or?
Yes.
For the
Yeah,
officer
it's-
committee,
it's-
not
it's-
for the
it's-
Nomination committee.
Nomination
They're on the
committee.
officers.
okay, it says,
Nominating
the nominating committee will submit recommendations for each of the officer positions for vote by the general membership. Members of the nominating committee are not eligible for an elected office. I just read the
Well,
paragraph, so we're good to
Let me
continue.
just, let me clarify one more thing. It doesn't say that the majority of the 3, it doesn't take 2 out of 3.
Yeah, it didn't say anything about.
So this one can nominate someone, this person can nominate some other
Yeah.
person, this other one can
Uh-huh.
nominate someone, so you have 3 people for 1 position. I just want to clarify that, that's what it
Yes, can
says.
happen, yes.
what was that?
That the selection committee of 3 people will make recommendations as far as positions. It doesn't say that they only recommend 1 person.
No.
They could recommend 3 different
Oh,
people,
yeah.
or as many as they want. It really doesn't even say 3, it just says whoever they think should be recommended, except for them, they can't run for any other position.
Okay, so based on that, I mean, I cannot choose anybody that wants to, you know,
Run.
run.
Right.
In the
But how
past,
do you
we've
even-
done-
how do you know
How do you know who wants to, that's what I'm saying, we're rushing her. Why are we rushing
Exactly, that
this?
was going to be my second.
Why are we rushing?
Well, I can be on it because I'm not gonna run. No, take it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna run, and that's why I remember we
No.
did this in like
You did
early
this.
summer.
Yeah, you
We-
did it.
Because me and Pat and Alice said, we are not running for any offices,
Okay.
we are turned out next month. So we for sure are not running for any offices. That's why I remember we saying.
Well, we're starting, there's no point to discuss that anymore, because we already talked about
Well,
it.
if you like, I like to.
We said, her was, she made the motion in the event that
For a long
there
time.
really
find
was
any
an,
evidence.
yeah, but they.
Oh, yeah, we don't find any evidence, and Karina's telling us right now that there is no minutes.
Yeah.
So we're arguing this back and forth
No,
at
no, no.
7:30.
They did give
Yeah,
us a meeting.
3 letter nominate the committee members and then minutes.
Let the chair
Because
make
it
the
was her
decision,
job.
whatever she
Yeah.
wants to do, it doesn't
And you
have
know
to
how
be
we
tonight,
get
it
all
can
the
be
meetings?
tomorrow, it can be
Tomorrow
next
I will
week.
serve on that
Look, as
committee.
Linda,
But it wasn't,
Let her make her own decision.
all of the committees and subcommittees that were selected on the action plan from last year, those selections that we did or that you guys did was for last fiscal year. We don't have an action
No,
plan.
but she wasn't.
No, I'm not talking about last fiscal year. In early summer, we were looking at the action plan. We decided we didn't create an action plan, but we did say we do need to select a committee to select officers, because that needs to come first. And that's when, and this is, I don't know if there's minutes or not, I didn't take the minutes, this is from my recollection.
Do you remember the
But if that exceeds.
It had to be.
It has to be done.
Right.
Right now,
Yeah, but if
it
not,
had to be like June.
Again, if they found that overseas it, if not, then we'll go with your recommendation.
And that's why I recall, we're turning out without the is that we would be on the committee because we're not ready.
Well, okay, so we already said that like
Okay,
10
yeah.
times, so let's move
Okay,
forward.
so I would choose Linda.
Okay, this,
I accept.
Okay,
There's
I don't
another,
know. I'm
the
not-
only bad thing is that there is, people who are not present today.
That's what she has also.
No, but she has to.
Oh, but she-
You haven't had an opportunity to meet other people.
True.
Come
So
on.
I think we're rushing this,
No.
why are we rushing this? Obviously there's personal interest here, I think we need to stop this.
No, no, no.
Hey, no, let me finish, allow me to finish, it is personal interest, I can see that. I think in all, excuse me, I'm talking. Allow me please, I think that we need to email everybody and let them know what we're gonna be doing, give them an opportunity to attend if they are interested, and come, and allow them, if they don't come, at least we did that. At least we followed
It's on the
that.
agenda, everybody.
Okay, can we afford to go one more month without changing?
No, we
it's up to you, but I mean, you're already into October.
No, we've already
What-
had 2
what is
months
the
and we
hurry?
did a
It's,
quorum. That's why we're.
Yeah, ahorita estamos.
Va a estar difícil.
It says on the agenda. That's
You will
why
be able to get a quorum, so let's do it now.
And that's why I nominated.
Do whatever you wanna, do whatever you wanna do.
It's already
Go ahead and do whatever you
Yeah,
wanna
let
do.
her, let
Well,
her just take her.
If I may, Madam Chair, right now you're just gonna select the 3 people.
Yes.
Then next meeting, they can come back with recommendations.
Yes, that's
Right,
what they're gonna do.
right.
Yeah.
Perfect, so
So you already selected one person?
okay, Linda,
Okay.
Sylvia, and Dolores.
Do you two accept?
Do you accept?
Good.
You're not gonna run, Dolores?
I am not gonna run.
Well, me?
Para la casa ahorita.
Got that out of the way. Yay.
Thank you.
I'm gonna run for animal care service.
Okay, so that's as far as right now we're getting on the selection of officers.
Yes.
Yes.
And the action plan, we'll discuss that maybe next time.
We will.
Ya es un poquito tarde. And any other general discussions,
General,
concerns?
yes.
I'd like to make an announcement only to let, it's nonpartisan, by the way. Tomorrow is the last day to register and vote, ladies and gentlemen. And we're doing a nonpartisan, it's the registration at the 2 local libraries from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And we can turn in the cards as late as 8 o'clock here at the elections office. So if anybody knows someone who has not registered to vote, please send them over to the Joe Guerra Library or the one in the south. We'll be there. We have volunteers. It's a Yes, I Will Vote campaign that we have with all the businesses in town, and we have the city and the county, as a matter of fact, are part of our coalition. We have about 30 or 40 businesses that are in our coalition. So we're just hoping, and we have a goal of 60,000, well, 5,000 brand new voters, which we've already registered over 3,000. And then our goal is 60,000 for election day. Well, combined, early voting and election day, so
That's a lot.
we try to push the vote and we try to get our women out to the polls too, because after all, this is the commission for women. So I just want to pass it on to you guys. Thank you so much.
And the election is the 22nd.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So motion to adjourn.
Okay, so
Make a motion.
7:30.
I make a motion to,
Sorry.
I make a motion to adjourn at 7:31.
Second.
Number. Vote yes.
Who wants to stay?
I want on behalf of the committee, I would like to thank. Thank you for going above and beyond. Thank you for going. You meant so much to us and you've helped us a lot. And thank you, I appreciate it.
Your patience, your knowledge, everything about it.
Together we will ask for money from this council so we can have a party.